What is going on, beautiful people? So we clap. I am VB Pro Chris Hunt here, and today we are 6 weeks out. And real quick, I'm just gonna make my current pre-workout meal. It's nothing fancy, special, whatever. Ground turkey, 99% lean, cardboard, you know, you know, some asparagus, and a few rice cakes. So pretty boring, but boring is good, especially this time around. So there we go. Sprinkle. Put some parsley. Bam. Black pepper. Some salt. Flavor House seasoning. Shout out to Flavor Gang on that. It's really good stuff. Boom. No Parmesan. I'm gonna use seasoned salt. Just a touch. And my secret weapon, ground cinnamon. Just a touch. Mix that up. So today is gonna be kind of a touch-up day. Training wise, energy is a bit lower. Coach is so gracious as to lower my carbs, which is expected. That's okay. We are 6 weeks out as of today. Prejudging, I believe, is on a Friday. No, 6 weeks out tomorrow. Prejudging on a Saturday. And today's is going to be a touch-up day at Destination Dallas. And so we're going to do, of course, calves, abs. Touch up on some biceps, some upper back, trap rhomboid, and some cardio. So I got rocking my Better Bodies attire. Shout out to you guys. And while that's going, I'm gonna start the asparagus. So I just got my new diet today. My carbs right now are pretty low. You might be able to tell, but they are pretty low at the moment. Carb sources, I don't even know right now. I can't think. But carbs aren't that high. They're very, very low. I know they're under 75 grams a day at the moment, but it is all good. We're trying to bring an improved package for the O this year. Possibly, or most likely, my last one in the classic division. More than likely, we'll take all of 2023 off to grow, but if we're making really good progress and coach wants me to get on stage earlier, then we'll do that next year. But more than likely, we'll use the whole 12 months to our advantage. Plus, my body needs a break anyway, physically and mentally. It can get very, very tough. If you competed at this level, you guys know, like, shit gets real. It'd be good to give myself a break, let the body kind of rest, let the organs heal throughout the holidays, make sure the blood work is good, and hit it hard maybe February. Give my body a little bit of a break after this Olympia. I'm excited though. I hear there's 60 guys, actually over 60 now. You count the guys that qualified with points, which is crazy. Oh, let me close my cabinets, because some of y'all commented last time saying my cabinets was giving y'all anxiety, so I kept it open. All right, so we are done with that meal. So this yellow looking thing is actually this sweet poppy sauce by Flavor Gang, which is really, really good too. I've tried them all. I don't really have a favorite. They're all really, really good. So if you haven't tried them, between their seasonings and their sauces, the bowl of games is really good. There's really nothing bad on that website. So shout out to Flavor Gang. So this is the sweet poppy sauce with all the seasonings. That can taste really, really good with the asparagus as well. We're gonna measure this thing on out. So we got 5 ounces. Make sure it's zeroed out. Not an ounce over. Yes, on that anal. 0.7, 8, right of 5. Cool. That's 5 ounces of protein. It doesn't look like much because it is not much at all. And use some asparagus, just a couple here. In case you're wondering why the asparagus looks like that, I use the same exact seasonings for the ground turkey minus the sweet poppy as I did with the asparagus. I like mine a bit more crunchy, so I have the stove on pretty high, a couple tosses with the extra virgin olive oil, and good to go. So we're gonna top this off with rice cakes. We have 3 rice cakes for the pre-workout meal. Pretty much my only source of carbs at the moment. My oats have been cut out, rice is cut out, potatoes just got cut out, so we are living a good life. The rice cake life, baby. That's it. Voila, this is literally my pre-workout meal. Ground turkey, asparagus. Turn it off before I burn the house. And rice cakes. So we're gonna eat that. Let this storm kind of settle. It's actually pretty bad. So by the time this is already digested, we're gonna just kind of do some things around the house too. It should be time to check out pre-workout. Speaking of pre-workout, so I'm using right now Before You Train by Biotech. So it looks like this right here. This is an older bottle, but I've got some fresh ones too. So Before You Train, pre-workout. I like something that's a mixture of really good stims, but also gives me the mental focus. Like these days, you know, we take enough fat burners and caffeine that we have plenty of stimulants, but a lot of products kind of lack that mental focus, the nootropic kind of feel. So I like this because it kind of gets you in that zone. Like it has the nootropics that you feel in the mindset to really do some damage in the gym. So tastes good and actually works. So shout out to Biotech, VYOTECH, low carbs, Biotech Nutritionals. So shout out to you guys. Use my code HUNT, HUNT with an E at the end, and you'll save 20% off. So shout out to you guys. Alright, so we just got done doing some behind the neck lat pull downs. Today's more of a touch up, upper back, like I mentioned earlier. So that really hits the lats, but it also hits the rhomboids and the rear delts as well. So we're going to go to another rear delt movement, just to kind of cap off the upper back, kind of get some blood in the rear delts. You can never have too much rear delts. We'll do a couple sets here, a couple more pulling movements, then we'll go into some biceps, and then a little bit of ab and calf before we do some cardio. So let's get it. One thing about these is that if you notice, I keep my elbow up high throughout the whole movement. I noticed that once I started dropping my elbow, I tend to feel a little more trapped, which right now I don't want to engage my trap muscle at all. So at least for me, it's more like I guess a mental thing. That any type of rear delt movement, I tend to keep my elbows up high, and I feel it, the tension constantly in the rear delt. You don't really have to go too heavy. A lot of guys use momentum, which you don't want to do. It's a movement you really got to feel. And at least for me, what kind of helped me is just keeping that elbow propped up nice and high and constantly engage that rear delt throughout the movement. Hell yeah. Yeah. Bro, I'm just trying to do this shit on my own. I got video guys, but I'm just trying to have this shit cranked out, bro. Like 3 videos a week, you know, vlogging. So
I just bought my first camera. And
yeah.
I'm trying to start doing some stuff.
We're doing some dumbbell front raises just to isolate that front delt. Again, this is my touch-up day, so I use this day to kind of hit either the stuff I haven't hit as hard or something I want to kind of bring up or kind of touch up on. And for this particular movement, I like to kind of put my palms up, have a slight bend in the elbow, and then come up almost cross body. And that way I can fully isolate that front delt as I'm coming up. Not too heavy, using 35, something I can feel really good. I don't feel any kind of pain in my shoulder and rear delt or rotator cuff or anything like that. So I can really use that weight to isolate that muscle. There's a very small muscle right here in the front. So moderate weight, moderate volume, and just really stimulating that one piece of the muscle. So it's a good movement. All right, so we just did some seated dumbbell curls. So something I got kind of from Phil Heath. He's big into the whole 7 rep thing. So we did 7 with the right, 7 with the left, 7 with both. One thing for me, I've always been forearm dominant. So I often don't really do hammer curl movements or movements where my wrist is pointing this way, or even twisting movements. At least for me, I get the most bicep when I take my forearm out of it. So I tend to point my wrist down and keep it up the entire time. That engages the bicep. So even as I stretch down, that's another thing, you want to get a big stretch when it comes to biceps. It's a very short muscle, so make sure you stretch it out as much as possible. So I get a big stretch at the bottom, keep the wrist pointing up the entire time, and then I come up and just curl up. So I don't do any kind of twisting motion. For this kind of allows me to catch up with the biceps, with the forearm. So as you see, I've been forearm dominant for the longest, having a powerlifting background. So just little tips and tricks. So now we're gonna go to some easy bar curls. Nothing too crazy. Keep the repetition around 12-ish, and then maybe like some preacher curls, and that'll be it for tonight. So. So I did a random QA on my social media. It's been a while since I did Q&A. So some of these questions are good, not many, but so my first time seeing these, let me just read them now. First question, how long do you think it'll take before your 212 debut? As far as 212, I mean, it's something I've been kind of debating. Dare I even say almost scared to do, because I know that I'm getting I know that I am too big for the classic as far as making my weight. It's been a struggle the last couple of years, to the point where I'm bringing a subpar physique just to make that 180 weight cap. I tend to look good at around 189, 190. Anything under that, and my body just stressing and pretty much not getting enough time to really fill out, especially with these weigh-ins being so close to the show day. So that being said, I've been talking to a couple of other Olympians, and of course my coach. He's been waiting for me to just go ahead and make that decision. And I think we're just gonna, take some time. Most likely take all of 2023 off, but if we're seeing that we're progressing at a point where we can get on stage. But at this point, after the Olympia, I definitely need a little bit of a break, both physically and mentally. And, maybe like January, February, we really start hitting the gas and put the size on for the 212. So to answer your question, we're looking at maybe 2024 realistically. And let's use all of 2023 to make necessary improvements and just blow up and just get big. Of course, keeping my lines, still my classic shape, just on a much bigger physique. Next question, tips on planning a wedding, bro, and prepping for a competition. Did you use a planner? Oh man, tips on planning a wedding. Well, for our wedding, shout out to wifey behind the camera, I was prepping. So that was interesting. So tips, hard to say, man. Yes, use a planner, because there's a lot of things that you're not going to really realize that you have to pay attention to and pay for and make sure things are perfect. So just to have a planner to kind of like put the pieces together is crucial. So you have to have a planner, in my opinion, especially if you're on prep. And just communicate, be understanding towards one another. If you're already at the point where you guys are getting married and planning, obviously she understands this lifestyle. So, I don't really have to tell you to be understanding, because she's understanding, obviously. She said yes, right? So, just communicate and, just understand that you're going to be tired and frustrated, but, do whatever you can. Ask, is there anything you can do? And, like I said, just have a really good planner to kind of put the pieces together, because at least for us, that was really, really big. What is something everyone always gets wrong about you? Ooh, it's a good one. I think at first I seemed really unapproachable. I guess because I'm an introvert, I still kind of come off like that, even though I don't really mean to. And especially looking like this, between the muscles and the hair and I stick out, right? So, but once people actually have a conversation and approach me, and they're like, "Oh man, he's cool," he just kind of just looks like that. So I would say, initially that I tend to come off standoffish or unapproachable or mean, but that's not the case. I'm a gentle giant. So, what would you change about social media? Ooh, good question. Well, I think censorship, as much as we like to think that freedom of speech is free, it's really not. It comes at quite a great cost. And with the cancel culture today, you really got to watch what you say. Really on all platforms. Anything can be screen recorded and taken out of context. Obviously, you see, I don't have to bring up names, but you've seen some of the celebrities, and it's happening right now, whether you agree or not with the ideology. But I would say just the censorship, and if there really is freedom of speech, then they actually have freedom of speech on all platforms, including social media. What food would you never eat? What food would I never? Oysters. I would never eat an oyster. You couldn't pay me $1 million. It's disgusting. It looks nasty, slimy.